See you, boys.
Mr. Fella, and I'ma get you right. Get you out the compact Prius with check engine light. Get you out the 3.
Hello. Nice. My bucket of shit. And this is what we're going to be tackling today. We've got the top half fiberglass. Need to match. Need to match this other side that we've done. Molding the fiberglass in. Once we put high fill on it, you'll never even know. So I've got to do that to this side. Get the grinder out, buzz all this back, glass all this in here, fill in all that. I'm not glassing down the bottom here because you can't see it because of the body line, which is fucking sweet. But need to sort of door in here, rub all this black paint off, and I won't do under there because that's a nice sharp body line. So first things first, take this off because it's firmly held on with some tape. Come around to the rear bar. Unhook that. Nice. Get the rear bars off. Neat little trick. If you're ever mounting a rear bar, this is like a something to do with plumbing. I think it's like a wrap they put over the copper piping for hot water systems, or even like a pool noodle. You just run a line down it, shove it over the back of the crash bar, and it'll hold the bar up and it'll stop it sagging in the middle. So let's get this tail light out. Alright, so we're gonna fiberglass up this little shaz, do up the other side. I just sanded the top and it's pretty wavy, so what I'm going to do is once I lay all the fiberglass sheet, I'll put down some stuff called peel ply and I'll smooth it all out, suck out all the excess resin and make it really strong. Doesn't really need to be strong because it's just cosmetic. It's all made pretty good already, so get out of the sun for a bit. If you're ever doing fiberglassing, one thing I recommend, I'll show you. If you go and get yourself some of this stuff, it's called peel ply. You lay it on top of wet fiberglass resin and it'll pull out any excess resin. I'm no bodywork expert, but it makes it, see that's had peel ply on it. It pulls all the resin out of it, as you can see. Any excess resin reinforces the strength of it and it leaves it smooth, so bodywork when you actually go to start sanding makes it a lot easier. And hopefully in an hour or so this will set. Did the back as well. It's not the prettiest thing, but I can essentially just tidy it up with a bit of filler, high filler out of the gun. We're going to end up polyestering it like we did this side. And you can't even tell that it was there at all. Can't even see the body line, which is sweet. There's a few little dimples in it, but that comes out with high build 2K primer. But it takes that wave out of the fiberglass that you usually see. So hopefully should make it look almost like a factory steel guard. You won't notice that it's about 20mm wider. Might mess around and try and mount up, because everything is just sitting on the car at the moment, as you can see, like the the bonnet's probably gonna fucking fall off. It looks messy, but we did sand the bonnet back ready to get primed, and then we ran out of time, so we had to basically go through and seal it all up to make sure it didn't rust. Obviously a few parts we didn't quite get to, but it's just the edges where you generally go pretty low with it all, but that's easy. All I do, give it a rough sand back, ready for primer. As long as I can mount it, get it straight, and I can start mounting off the guards properly, start fitting up the front bar properly. It's a bit filthy. If I can get 400, 450 out of it, I'll be stoked. Anything over that is just a fucking bonus. Just need to finish my least favourite part of it, and that's bodywork. Oh, I'm gonna have some lunch, charge some batteries, and I'll get back to it.
That's it. Get it out of there. Look at that. You don't need it anymore. Bye-bye.
I should probably get to work.
Look at how much room you
Let's
have.
do it.
Look at that.
It's probably dry enough to pull off. I'll give it another half an hour just to sort of set, because this is still sort of jello. It's not quite set. So in the meantime, we will mount the bonnet, because it's not mounted. It's just sitting here. Need some new bumper stoppers, but they line up pretty good. Lines up pretty good. This gives me something to work off. I had some marks before I pulled the bonnet up. I marked out where they should sit, so now I've got a starting point. I can sort of work my way through. Alright, so we've got the top lined up. Not too bad. I definitely need some new bonnet rubbers just to bring this up just a fraction, but the body line, not a huge gap down it, so it's good enough for me. Get to see the beauty of peel ply. Nice. Obviously it's not super perfect, but all those air bubbles we able to fill with filler, and then obviously just run the blade, grind a blade down that, trim off all this excess crap. But pretty happy with that. The bottom's still a bit wet. It is winter here in Australia, so everything's taking a bit longer to set. The back here's been sitting in the sun, so that's not too bad. It's alright. Not too fussed about this part, because this will all just get filled in easy. I'll get the grinder, trim it up, throw some filler on it, see how she looks. Nice. Alright, so we cut off all the edges. Some little parts are a little dry, but it's okay because I'll knock them out with the grinder. It's pretty much just a base for the filler to mould in against here. Like I said, there's not going to be a whole lot of it's just this top edge that I was more concerned about. So it all looks pretty fucked up right now, but it's all ground back. Still lots of dust all over it. I'll have to get all the dust out, but that edge is pretty good. Alright, so off camera, went through and fixed up all the small shit I needed to fix up, and come through and just laid a filler edge. 90% of that's going to get sanded out. It's just to fill in any pinholes and give it more smooth shape, so all of this will end up going. It'll all get sanded out and you won't even know it's there. It's just to fill in any air holes that were left over. So I'll let this set and yeah, get the 40 grit out and go to town and hopefully fix it. More waiting. Alright, so some 36 grit on a big long planer. What I've been told about filler is you don't want to let it set too much. It's pretty much, you can't pull it up there, it's still a little soft, so that's when you start to hit it. Makes it just a little bit easier for you. You're not fucking putting in heaps and heaps of effort. It looks pretty rough right now, like that was probably a little too wet when I did it, but all of this, all the imperfections get hid by the high build polyester and then the high build primer that goes on top of it. So we'll give it another 5-10 minutes and I'll hit it with a planer and shape this out. Alright, well that's enough for today. I'm absolutely covered in fiberglass, but we got the rear shaped out. Looks like crap right now because it's all different colors and shapes, but that's pretty well flat and it'll end up looking like this tomorrow, fingers crossed. Need to get onto that. I'll come back tomorrow morning and James will help me get it all prepped and lay some polyester, and then yeah. One thing I hate about S13s, my coilovers are maxed out without skirts. Look how high it looks. The skirts bring it all down to the ground, that's for sure. Oh, let's pack up and get out of here. Alright, so we're back for the second day and come back pretty early. It's still pretty cold, so I'm going to take the boot off. So when I mask the car up and lay polyester over that panel, I have a feeling it'll take a lot longer to set because it's colder. I can work on that boot and get it all straight out and fill up those holes, plug weld those holes and sand it back and get it prepped. But give this a light scuff so no surface rust comes through because of the mildew. And just take these out. Alright, so the footage cut out while I was masking up the car, and I didn't realise that the battery had died. So new battery, wasn't that exciting anyway. I was just masking up a car. So in the meantime, may as well show you, I've got this panel prepped ready for primer. I've sealed up this here with some Celastic. If you don't know how to do that, it's real easy. Put a little bead of it, sounds gross, but spit on your fingers and smooth it out, and it comes out looking pretty factory really once I peel it all off, and once it's got some primer on top of it you won't even know. Well, that's ready to go, but what I was going to do was prep the boot lid and get it all polyestered up as well. I think I'm going to delete the boot lock, and it did have a factory wing at one stage which the previous owner just plugged up with some rubber bungs, so I weld all that up. All the rust spots gone. I'll probably just put a bit of rust converter on it just in case to get anything that I've might have missed. I'm going to plug up the old holes where the boot used to be, and I'm going to eliminate the lock so it's a nice clean boot lid. I had it on one of my last cars and it looked great. So all I've done is cut out some little bits of plate, put it on the underside, hold it up there with a magnet, and I'll throw a few small tacks on it. Haven't welded in forever, just essentially plug it up with a few tacks. I'm pretty happy with that, considering there was a huge hole there before. They're obviously still very wavy, but I can saw all that out with filler. And you can see why. I don't know if you can pick it up. where the wings sat, pushed in, and someone pulling it off has dented in that part. So fill the holes, fill those divots.
That looks pretty straight, eh?
Guards and poly, sand it out, sealed up where any of the steel came through, put the boot lid, took away the locks, plugged up the holes, got it in polyester, sealed up any of the rust, bonnets and primer, front bars and primer.